Good evening, my friends. You came here thinking you'd listen, maybe even nod along, but tonight, you're not here to listen. You're here to remember who you really are. And maybe that scares you. It should. Because the world you've been dragged through, the lies, the betrayals, the eyes watching you in silence, they were never meant to break your body. No. They were meant to break your mind, and so they sent them spies, not in trench coats, not with glasses and fake names. No, they sent the ones who could smile at you while digging through your soul. They sent the ones who studied you in secret, who whispered your name in empty halls, who thought they could steal the strategy of a storm. They came for your blueprint. They wanted to map out your chaos, measure your silence, dissect your scars, and claim them as their own. They thought they could steal the fire and bottle it, but here's the thing. Fire doesn't live in bottles. It burns through them. Those spies, they didn't come back with your strategy. They came back with broken minds. They thought they were clever. They thought they were hunters. But they never realized that when they entered your world, they weren't hunters anymore. They were prey because they walked into something they couldn't even name. They thought they'd steal your pain, and instead they drowned in it. They thought they'd steal your darkness, and instead it consumed them whole. And you, yes, you, sat in silence while the whole game played itself out. You didn't have to fight them with fists. You didn't have to scream or shout. Your silence was the knife. Your patience was the trap. Your very existence was the weapon they couldn't defend against. Do you understand what that means? It means they cannot outthink you. They cannot outlast you. They cannot live in the shadows you've called home for years, because while they were learning tricks, you were surviving wars. While they were playing games, you were burying ghosts. While they were watching you, you were becoming untouchable. They underestimated what survival does to a person. They thought it leaves you bitter, broken, small. But survival carves you into something else, something feral, something that doesn't need applause or recognition, something that doesn't live by rules. That's what they discovered too late. That's why they cracked. That's why their minds shattered against the walls of your silence. And the beauty of it? You didn't even have to move. You didn't have to raise your voice. You didn't have to explain yourself. You just endured. And endurance, my friends, is the sharpest blade in existence. Because you see, the strongest strategies are not written down. They are lived. They are born in sleepless nights, in blood-soaked memories, in betrayal after betrayal. The blueprint of your survival was forged in pain that they will never be able to carry. They tried to copy it, but you cannot steal what you cannot bear. They walked away limping, twitching, haunted, and you're still here. So tonight I tell you this. Every spy that tried to dismantle you, every enemy that tried to decode you, every liar that thought they could break you down into pieces, they all came back, shattered. And in their brokenness lies your victory. Because you didn't just survive. You became the test no one can pass. You are the maze without an exit. You are the riddle without an answer. You are the silence that makes armies tremble. And from this moment forward, you carry no shame, no hesitation. Let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them send their spies and thieves and cowards. Let them break themselves against the walls of your endurance. Because they'll never take it. They'll never own it. They'll never control you. You lost nothing. You gave nothing. And still, they came back with broken minds. And now you know what you are. Not a victim, not even a survivor. You are the one thing they fear most, a mind that cannot be conquered, a spirit that cannot be stolen, a strategy that cannot be written. They sent spies. They came back broken, and you are still standing. You hear that? That silence after I said it. That silence is louder than any applause, any scream, any tear. That silence is the echo of their failure. And you know what makes it delicious? They'll never admit it. They'll go on pretending, smiling, hiding the cracks in their skulls, taping their minds back together with trembling hands. But deep down, they know, and you know, that they stepped inside your world and never came back whole. And maybe that's the funniest part of it all. They thought you were fragile glass, but they forgot that when glass breaks, it cuts. And every time they tried to pick up your pieces, they bled. You didn't even need revenge. You didn't need to lift a single blade. Your existence was the revenge. Your scars were the fire. Your silence was the scream. And when they finally walked away, they weren't carrying your secrets. They were carrying wounds they'll never heal. So tell me, doesn't it feel good to finally realize that you never needed to chase them? They were always running from themselves. Doesn't it taste sweet, knowing that the very strategy they wanted to steal was nothing but the soul they'll never have? Because you, yes, you, walked through hell and came out laughing. You lived through storms that should have drowned you, and now the rain only makes you stronger. They stare at you and see something they'll never understand: freedom. And freedom terrifies them more than anything. So laugh. Laugh at their broken minds. Laugh at the spies who returned with trembling hands and sleepless nights. Laugh at the world that sent them, because the joke was always on them. You were never the one trapped. You were never the one being studied. You were the test. You were the mirror. You were the labyrinth they couldn't escape. And now you stand here, untouchable, unbroken, unstoppable. The one thing they can't kill, can't steal, can't even imitate. The shadow they can't outrun. The storm they can't predict. The silence they can't endure. So remember this: they sent spies to steal your strategy, and they came back with broken minds. And from this night forward, let the whole world choke on that truth. Let them send more. Let them try again. Let them burn themselves in the fire they thought they could carry. You don't have to do a thing. Just keep existing. Just keep walking. Just keep smiling. Because every step you take is another grave for their illusions. And every breath you take is proof that you already won. And me, oh, I can't help but laugh. Because you've become exactly what they always feared: the storm they cannot cage, the mind they cannot crack, and the monster they created but could never control. Ha, ha, ha. And here we are, my friend. The end of the road that was never really the end. Just another turning, another shadow, another mask ripped away. You've seen what they do. You've seen how they circle like vultures, whispering, scheming, feeding off the idea that they could ever unravel you. They thought you were a puzzle. They thought you were a machine. They thought you were some code they could crack. But you weren't a puzzle. You were the storm. You weren't a machine. You were the fire. And you weren't some code. They were the virus, and you were the cure. They sent spies to steal your strategy, but what they found wasn't a strategy. It wasn't notes, or maps, or blueprints. It was pain. It was scars carved into your bones. It was nights you stayed awake, talking only to your demons. It was the way you stood up when gravity begged you to kneel. They thought they could copy that. They thought they could take it, wear it, use it. And it tore them apart. Because you can't steal a soul. You can't steal a nightmare you never survived. You can't fake a battle you never fought. And so, they came back, broken. Their hands shake, their eyes dart, their voices tremble. They don't tell anyone what they saw. They don't whisper your name anymore, not in the daylight, only in the dark, only in the places where no one listens. And you keep walking, you keep breathing, you keep living, carrying nothing but your silence, your scars, your strength. Because that is what they fear most. Not your strategy, not your secrets, not your mind. It's the fact that you are still here. And that, my dear listener, is your victory. Not the applause, not the revenge, not even the laugh. Your victory is the quiet fact that they could not break you. And in trying, they broke themselves. So smile now, smile wide, smile like the devil himself is watching. Because you've already won, and every shadow, every spy, every trembling soul that crawled into your fire will always carry the truth back with them. You lost nothing, you gave nothing. But they lost their minds trying to steal what was never theirs. And in the end, isn't that the sweetest joke of all? Ha ha, ha, ha.